Bonjour everyone, and welcome back to my channel, The Waves of Your Soul. My name is Marine, I'm a French tarot reader, and today I wanted to share with you my current favorite oracle decks for the beginning of 2021 at the time of me filming this. And yeah, I'm super excited to share them with you. So those are oracle decks that I've been loving to use, whether it's for myself, friends, family, my readings that I do online in my YouTube channel, etc. Some of them are new to me, some of them are old ones that I'm rediscovering, and overall I hope you'll enjoy it. I personally love to see what fellow oracle and tarot readers use, why certain decks resonate with them or not, so hopefully you'll enjoy that too. I've actually done another part of this video where I talk about my current favorite tarot decks that I've been using at the beginning of 2021. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to subscribe to my channel and to check that one out. As well as if you want to see any of those decks in action, I use them all in my pick a card readings and my astro readings that I post on my channel. So make sure to check that out as well if you want to see how they read in action. As you can see today, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decks to show you. I hope you're excited, and let's get started. Okay, let's get started with the first oracle deck I wanted to share with you, which is the Absolute Affirmations deck by Kaleida Dope. So Crystal Banner is actually the creator, but her brand name is Kaleida Dope. She's also done the Kaleida Dope Tarot, I believe. She's done a few oracle decks around chakras, affirmations. She has done, I think she's recently came up with a Kickstarter all about a 2020 majors only deck, which is super cool. And pretty much what this is a positive affirmation cards to empower yourself. So those are all affirmation cards, as the title suggests, but they are, let me bring you closer. They are all very modern, and I love that. They are the anti-Doreen Virtue cards. And sometimes it's nice, because look, I'm all for, like positive things, and of course I wouldn't, if I wasn't into positive things, I wouldn't have bought this absolute affirmation decks to like empower yourself. But it is modern, and it's like the kind of affirmation that even non-spiritual people could get on board with, which I appreciate, because for ending my readings they have come up to be really useful. Sometimes even to my friends I'll say like, hey, I'll pull you a card if you want. If they're having a bad day, I'll just draw a card for them, and even if they're not super spiritually inclined, they'll still really appreciate it. It's a nice boost, a nice pick-me-up. And I absolutely love this creator. She's super cool. It's an indie deck, by the way, so I'll leave the links for it below, but I really appreciate it. And as you can see, it is rooted in modern day imagery, like we have iPhones, smileys, and all of that. So for example, let's pick one. This one, for example, says, I'm focused on the present. Be completely present in every moment to appreciate what life has to offer. Breathe in the present and cherish the clarity that stems from focusing on the now. Consciously let go of the past and thoughts of the future to savor current experiences. So as you can see, it's straightforward, it's no bullshit. You don't have to have a master degree in like universe speaking to get what the deck is trying to tell you. It doesn't really go into the realm of angels and all of that stuff, even though of course that's your thing, that's totally okay. But I mean that for the people who are sometimes put off by those kind of affirmation decks because they are a bit too not very rooted in the reality, I feel like I would definitely recommend this one because it's clever, it's it's cool, it's modern, and yeah, I really enjoy it. And also the quality is very good. It's a very nice matte cardstock. It's gilded in gold. The quality of the cards, the back is like this kind of marble design, which is lovely, and yeah, it's super cool. Moving on to the second oracle deck I've been loving to use. This is actually a present from my dear friend Gemma. So if you're watching this, Gemma, thank you so much. Girl, you're the best. She actually got this for me for Christmas, and I didn't even know this deck existed. It's called The Spirit Animal Wisdom by Katie Jane Wright and illustrated by Nikki Strange. Again, I'll put all the names of the decks below so you can just do a Google search. I believe this is on, it's an indie deck, so I believe it must be on Etsy. I'm not sure, I feel like it must be on Etsy. This is what the box looks like. It comes with a handy little guidebook that is black and white, and for each card you'll actually get a little picture of the card, the name, the elements, the meaning, and then you get a little message, and you'll get crystal companions for each card. So as you could have guessed from the title, this is an animal dex. And as far as animal decks go, I believe this is one of the most beautiful ones I have seen. I love animal decks anyway, so these are the backs. Gorgeous, I love this back, so beautiful. Yeah, I really love animal decks. I have quite a few. I've actually got a video all about my animal decks that will come after I publish this, so if you're interested about seeing all my decks around the animals, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can check that out. But this particular one is so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to my friend for picking it up, because it hadn't even been on my radar. Like, I didn't even know this existed. So those are all watercolor style reading, and as you can see on each card you get the name of the animal, you get an element, you get two elements, sorry. You get the general meaning and you get a sentence. So if you don't want to go in the guidebook, you don't even have to. Most of it is here. You can use your intuition, etc. But this deck is just gorgeous. And like I said, it hadn't been on my radar. I didn't even know about it. And believe you me, I think I'm like, I spent so much time online looking at what tarot and oracle decks are out there, that for something to, like, you know, be outside of my radar is quite rare. So I'm super grateful for my friend to have discovered it, and yeah, I really have been loving using it. So you get all sorts of animals, and you also get a couple of mythological creatures, like I believe there is a dragon, and let's see, we have hedgehog, monkey. So it's not just like European animals, which I appreciate, because I currently live on a tropical island in the Indian Ocean, so we don't get a lot of, you know, hares and bears and wolves. But I have like lizards in my house. Well, you know, those like kind of gecko style that they can come in. I have dolphins. You know, those are kind of animal I'm more ready to be spotting than, for example, a bear or wolf. So I appreciate when a deck is not so rooted in just European or Northern American animals, because yeah, it's nice for us Southern Hemispheres people to recognize some animals we can find too. So I feel like it's a really good, this one is so cute. Dog, divine service, how can you serve yourself better? I really love that. I think it's sweet. I think the images are gorgeous, and the messages are really interesting. Like, we have soul growth, growth is never easy, have faith and trust in the journey. So here's one of the mythical creatures, dragon, Gaia's gateway, access earth inner wisdom. The chameleon, actually I just saw a chameleon before I started filming in the garden. So funny, synchronicities. Chameleon, soul tribe, it is safe to be seen. And the chameleon is one of my favorite animals, and we have them quite a lot on the island I currently live on. So when they have chameleon cards is usually when a deck is like made for me. We have the spider, which I'm not a huge fan of, but you know, it's cool they're there, but they're not my favorite card. The sea turtle, conservation, make conscious choices. So I love this deck because it's not, again, too love and light kind of vibe. It does have some interesting things about, for example, you know, it talks about making better choices for yourself, for the planet, for others. It talks about ancestral healing, digital detox, intuition. You know, it's a good balance between shadow and light. It's definitely not just positive things that are gonna be like positive, I guess. So it's a good one to, again, I like to pull this at the end of some readings or card a day. I haven't really done 3 card spreads or anything like that with this one. I tend to use more like a card here and there, but it's super interesting. It's really gorgeous, and I wanted to showcase it because I don't see anyone talk about it, and I think it's a shame because it's really cool. Okay, moving on to the next oracle I wanted to talk about. It is the Morgan's Tarot. So don't get fooled by the name, even though this is called Morgan's Tarot by Morgan Robbins and Darshan Shore Pash. Sorry, this probably me butchering the name again with a French accent. I can't even tell you what this is telling you. So I'm gonna show you the box right here. It's by US Game System, and like I was saying, even though this is called a tarot, it is not a tarot at all. It's an oracle card, so it has 88 cards. It has a little white booklet inside, which is super funky, and this deck is crazy and I love it. So these are the backs. It says love is God, and this deck is from the 70s, so it is definitely rooted in that 70s 80s Woodstock, eating mushroom, going on acid trips kind of psychedelic vibe. And it is so kooky, so quirky. I have nothing like it. I've actually talked about this in my hashtag tarot collector video, where I show my most expensive, my rarest, and my strangest decks, and this was one of my strangest decks because I don't have anything like it. Again, I don't see that many people talk about it, which is a shame because even though it's super quirky, it is definitely not something to sleep on. The messages you get are super powerful, spot on, and unique. So it's a black and white deck. As you can see, you get a keyword on each card, and these are the kinds of cards you will get. Boo! What are you feeling now? What are you feeling now? Etc. etc. Very meta. Await further orders. Awake, like ring ring, wake up girl. Down home funk, always remember this. Not unfolding the way it should be, signed by the universe. Yeah, got that one before. This may not be a perfect circle, but it is a perfect whatever it is. Duck wacky do. As you can see, this deck is nuts. Some of the cards won't even have keywords, they'll just have a symbol, and it's like just up to your intuition to wordless. That's super interesting. But whatever card it is, I always found that no matter how quirky, like here's a mushroom card, there's actually a cannabis card too, I think. Stop, teehee, haha. This one I got when I was like, definitely sometimes you ask readings, and you know you do, and you ask on a question, and like the answer you got, sometimes you're like, are you sure I need to ask again? And this is the kind of card that you'd put like, haha bitch, listen to what I said in the first place. Like the universe is laughing at you like, I'm not telling you a second time, girl. So yeah, this is it. It is not what you do that counts, it is where your head is at. Be careful going around curves. Who is watching the cosmic drama? So as you can see, it is super super quirky, freak, but at the same time it's really clever. It's super door to the Akashic record. It is definitely super clever, super unusual. The little guidebook that goes with it is really interesting. It's small, but it definitely gives an interesting take on the cards, and I would totally recommend this deck. I think it's brilliant. Every time I've used it for friends, loved ones, or in my pick a card readings or whatever, the card, like the messages are always spot on. They always make you laugh, and you can't use this deck and be sad kind of vibe. You know, it's just, it will make you take yourself not too seriously. This is one of my favorite cards of the deck. It says, do not meddle in the affairs of wizards, for they are subtle and quick to anger. So this is a Morgan's Tarot by US Games. Okay, moving on to the Modern Goddess Oracle by Ethony. So this is the box it comes in. This is a indie deck, independently produced deck by Ethony. You can find it on her website, right here. It comes with a pretty chunky guidebook, as you can see, full color. And as you would have guessed, it is a goddess deck. These are the backs, which are absolutely gorgeous. Potentially the most beautiful backs I have on any oracle decks, to be honest. It is blue, the cardstock is matte and beautiful, this like rose petal finish, silver gilding on the card. It's like it's got a whole moon cycle here with her bee design, and it's just so gorgeous. And the cards are super bright and colorful. So before I get into the card, and you can see they're gilded in silver. So this is a Modern Goddess oracle, as you can see, and it has 49 goddesses and 16 empowering archetypes for the metaphysical badass. So from just that, you get the vibe. I mean, if you don't know Ethony's products and Ethony's channel and her kind of like business and everything she does, then you need to check her out. But I feel like everyone who's into tarot has probably seen her stuff. She does some really interesting courses, and she has this like tarot summer school with lots of other teachers coming and doing stuff. But this particular deck was trying to bring the goddesses archetypes into the more modern current world. So this is something I really appreciate, because a lot of the goddess decks are quite, I'd say, they don't necessarily tend to depict the goddesses in nowadays. They will depict the goddesses in their time, and it's nice to be able to bring the goddess archetype in our world. So of course, so let's talk about the guidebook first. As you can see, in the guidebook, you'll have the image of the goddess, her name, the keyword for her symbols, an affirmation. Then we'll tell you a little bit more about who the goddess is, and to be honest, this is a little bit small for my liking, so this would require a lot of Google search and studying for me personally. This is not enough, so I would go off and then do my own research. But if you just want a quick message, then it's enough, it's okay. And then after that, you get the divination meaning if it's as if it was upright. You get a shadow meaning for people who read reverse, or if you're putting it in a spread where you're looking more at an obstacle or a challenge or something like that. And then you also have points for working with a goddess and for healing with a goddess. So super packed guidebook with a lot of information. And you don't only get goddesses, you also get archetypes. So I'll show you the cards now. So because this is a goddess deck, I will say this is a female-centric deck. There's no male representation in this deck, but in terms of goddess deck, it does a very good job at portraying diversity of age and of ethnicity, which is something I appreciate. So let me bring you a little bit closer. So for each goddess, as you can see, you'll get the name of the goddess at the bottom, and you'll also get some of her main attributes. So for example, for Aphrodite, you get the shell, you get the mirror, you get the dolphins, and the pearls. So just from that, even if you and you get the hearts under her eyes. So already from the images, you can draw a lot of information from who the goddess is. But of course, this is a great start for like getting to know more goddesses from around the world. And I think she's done a really good job at picking different goddesses from all different cultures. You get your North goddesses like Frigg, you have your more like Polynesian goddesses like Namaka, you have goddesses from like the African like cultures, so like Oya and Oshun, Yemoja, and you've got the Greek goddesses like Demeter and Persephone, etc, etc. And then, like I said, there's also 16 empowering archetypes, so I've put most of them in the back actually. And yeah, there we go. So those archetypes, you can mix them in, or you can like draw a goddess or draw an archetype. You do you. But I find that interesting. So again, they are more female centric, but they're really interesting archetypes. You'll have the queen, the guide, the artist, the badass. This is one of my favorite cards of the deck. I love that it's an older lady. I love how she's dressed. I love her earrings. I love her style. She reminds me of the women I used to see when I was living in London, and yeah, she's awesome. The rebel, I love this card. Again, great diversity portrayed, and yeah, it's awesome. We have the shadow master, the fairy, the mother. I think you have mother, maiden, crone, the mystic, the high priestess, the witch, the crone. Yeah, so it's interesting archetypes. The warrior, and then and then we're back to the goddesses I was showing you. So like I was saying, Asian goddess, like Chinese goddesses and Japanese goddesses. We have Inuit goddess, Oshun, I was mentioning her, Native American. Yeah, so it's a good mix. Celtic goddesses, of course. so Egyptian as well. So there's definitely an interesting mix, and what I love is how she's depicted those goddesses in modern day. Like Sekhmet look really badass, and I love that, you know, you can still get a sense of her badassery with the fact that she's like, you know, there's the skulls here, there's the Ankh, there's the Horus eye, we have her head of the lion, we have the Eye of Horus, so you definitely still get a sense of who this goddess is if you know the goddess a little bit, but if you don't, then the guidebook gives you plenty to start working with, and then you can do more of your research. So this is the Modern Goddess Oracle by Ethony. Okay, moving on. On the theme of goddesses and gods and mythology, I really wanted to show you a French deck, because I believe that even though it's a French deck, you could definitely use it as an English person. So, this is what it looks like. It is called Oracle des dieux et des déesses grecques by Vanina Gallo. It is by Hugo Newlife, is the publisher, and it comes with 22 cards. So, the only thing I will say is those backs. Why do people feel the need to write the name of the deck on the cards is beyond me. I don't like it. It's just personal taste. You know, if they had removed that and just had this kind of purple design with just the eyes, I would be like all for it. But I forgive it because the artwork is amazing. So this deck is about Greek mythology, Greek gods and goddesses. It comes in this little clasp here. Let me move you out a bit. So it comes in this clasp. Well, on this side you have the cards, on this side you have this little guidebook right here, and actually the guidebook is great. It gives you a description of each archetype, god or goddess. It will give you symbols in French, of course, but you can translate it with Google Translate, and then it will give you the message of that divinity, the shadow message, and then it will give you attributes, what to do, and affirmation, and that is for each 22 god and goddesses it depicts. So first of all, you could totally translate that easily because it's not huge, but it's packed full of very interesting development, personal work, shadow work, points, key points, and stuff like that. So if you wanted to translate it, you could just use Google Translate, etc. But the reason why I wanted to showcase it is because so many of us enjoy Greek mythology, enjoy the gods, and I thought it would be really cool, even if you don't want to use a guidebook, as altar cards, as oracle cards, and you can just use your own knowing of the gods and goddesses to make your own meanings behind them. But what is super cool is the cards themselves, the drawings. So despite the fact that the cards, the packs are kind of ugly, well, not ugly, just not to my liking, the cardstock is fantastic. It's matte, it's thick, it's super sturdy, but still flexible, and it's fantastic. Like, you can tell it's really good quality. And what the artist has done is she has brought the gods and goddesses of Greek mythology into modern day, while still keeping their attributes that is important for us to see. So for example, for Hecate, you still get the knife and the key and the torch and the moon and the three faces. So you have 22 in total, and I think they are super cool. I love this deck so much. So we have Dionysos, Apollo, and the thing is, you know, you've got the names here, right here. So this is Hera. You have Hades. The fact is, just because the names are in French, to be honest, I believe most of the Greek god and goddesses are the same. You know, like I don't think French has translated them or any way different to the English. So Aphrodite, we just say Aphrodite. We say it differently, but it's still spelled the same. So for you English speaking out there, you could still definitely recognize, you know, it is Aphrodite. And I think, like I said, that they would be fantastic altar cards if you like to work with Greek mythology. They would be fantastic cards to use as archetypes. I have been playing with them for archetype reading, and I'm gonna do them more on my channel as pick a card readings for for people to draw their archetypes, and I think they are fantastic for that. Athena is super cool. I love her depiction right here. We have Kairos, Artemis, Demeter, Zeus, we have Ares or Mars, Bobo. And another thing I love about those cards, so I can see they're super vibrant, super colorful. You can use them for archetype, etc. But altar cards. But also I think they could be cool for astro readings, because we know a lot of the Greek gods and goddesses ended up, you know, being influencing, like for example Zeus is Jupiter and Ares is Mars. So there's definitely a lot to work with, even if you just use the card. And I think those cards are super beautiful. So we have Métis, Psyche, Hestia, Hephaestus, and Hermes. So there's 22 gods and goddesses in total. And yeah, I think I love this modern day Hermes. He's super cool. He's got his iPhone, he's got his like little sneakers, and he's on the go. And I think it's a really cool depiction. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I believe you could find it on Amazon France, I'm pretty sure. And I'll show you the box once more, so if you want to get it, it is this. It's also super cheap. I think it's like, yeah, 16 euros. You know, can't go wrong with that. And finally, to wrap up this video, I wanted to talk about the Oracle of the Radiant Sun by Caroline Smith and John Astrop. Now this deck is like an oldie but a goodie. I only got it recently, but I know it's come out a while now. I mean, it's an, you know, a lot of people love this deck. It's one of those classics. It's come in those like pull away boxes. Those people have also made the Oracle of the Moon, I believe, which I don't have. But this deck, particular deck, is an astrology deck. So you get a really good guidebook, which I'll come to in a second. And then you, in this box, you get the cards separated, which I hate. That's the only thing I hate about this deck, is you know, when boxes are separated into, I always like, I can never scoop them out, and yeah, it's just first world problem. Anyway, these are the backs. I really like those backs. They're really beautiful. And this deck is all focused around astrology, and it is depicted with those kind of like engravings, historical engravings, and you know, this kind of like engraving art. So how this deck is built is that you will have cards for each different planet. So you have, and this is what the book explains very well. So you have your sun cards, you have moon cards, you have Mercury cards, you have Venus card, Mars cards, Saturn, and Jupiter. So for each card, and then each card, for example, for the sun card, so you can see that the sun card here, we have the sun sign, and this is in yellow. So from the color code, you can see those two are sun cards because they have the bottom of it in yellow, whereas this is the Venus card because you get a different color here, plus you get the sign right here. So for all the sun cards, you get sun in, and then all the 12 astrological signs. So sun in Aries, sun in Taurus, sun in Virgo, sun in Cancer, etc, etc. And then you get Mercury, or sorry, moon in Aries, moon in Taurus, moon in Cancer, etc. And then you get Mercury in Aries, Mercury in Taurus, Mercury in Gemini, etc, etc. So 12 cards for all planets. And the book explains each card by giving you, so for example, here we have Mars in Libra. So here you get Mars in Libra. You get keywords, you get a little explanation of the card, and then you get kind of like what it means if you draw this card personally. Here you'll get a little bit more of a divination meaning usually at the end of the card, and finally they'll even draw it to, like, if you want to go fully divination, trying to plan events, etc., it will give you a little bit of an idea of the events. But this actually is amazing, this deck, to make your own natal chart, because if you pull your natal chart, so let's say like we have an example here, you know, if you wanted to do your natal chart, you could actually pick the cards that correspond to, I'll flip through the cards while I talk so you can get a sense of the artwork. If you want to do your natal chart, you pull it from the internet, and then you find the cards that correspond to what is on your chart, and it helps you understand a little bit more about what this chart means, because if you are like me, you're a tarot lover, oracle lover, you're all about the visual. And if you tell me, for example, my sun is in Aries, so you know, if I was starting astrology and I was like, well, I don't really know what that means, and I read about it, etc., it's okay. But if I get the card Sun in Aries and I think, so I feel like in this one it is assertion, I think. Okay, let's do Sun in Taurus, let's pretend. Suddenly you see this picture, it's a lot easier to understand what Moon in Taurus means. It's about feeling opulent, feeling, you know, connected to beauty, feeling good about oneself. It's about, you know, connection here, but we have acquisitions, so it's about the material world as well. So it just helps you understand a little bit more about all these astrological traits. So you could also just be using this deck purely as an oracle, and it definitely works as well, because as you can see, the keywords are super interesting and the artwork is also very interesting, so you can get a lot intuitively from the symbols, the artwork, and the keywords are usually expensive enough that, well, this one is like quite timely, isn't it? Isolation. Yep, thank you, Corona. So we have publicity. I love this artwork as well. I think it's gorgeous. This kind of like old engraving style is beautiful. Intuition. So even if you didn't want to bother about the astrological meanings and you just wanted to use this purely as a divination type oracle, it works really well. But what I love about this deck is that it's very much a Swiss pocket knife. Is that how you say it? It just, you can do a lot with it. You can learn astrology, you can do readings, you can pull your astro charts, you can pull those cards around the time. So for example, if it's like right now, the time me filming this, we have the moon in Aquarius, new moon in Aquarius. I could find the card moon in Aquarius, put it on my altar, or, you know, use it for my reading to like invite this kind of energy to the reading. So overall, it's a super cool deck. Really interesting. You can do a lot with it and I really enjoy it. Okay, these are all my favorite oracle decks of the beginning of 2021. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to leave me a like, leave me a comment. It really helps my channel to grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, I super appreciate it. As I mentioned earlier in the intro, I did do a favorite tarot video as well as part of this, like part 1 of this video, so make sure to check that out. And until my next video, I am sending you lots and lots of good vibes, and keep navigating the waves of your soul. Bye!